Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast. Today, joining me here on the podcast, I've had him on the channel several times, but never through the power of the internet. But we've got Ozzy Kilmeister, the most metalhead in professional wrestling here on the channel. How you doing, Ozzy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Oh man, when I came up with this theme, I was like, you know what? Rocking entrances. There's only one guy, I think, in my personal opinion, that needs to be on here to talk about the most rocking entrances of all time in wrestling. And my friend, you definitely have one of the most rocking entrances in all professional wrestling.
I appreciate it. I try to bring it. I try.
Now, what goes into creating a rocking entrance? Because my friend, we're going to play a little video here on the side here of just you coming through the curtain. What goes through your mind here when you're ready to go through this curtain here?
I do everything that I would do at a show. I pretend the curtain is just people. I push through it and I go out there to open up the pit.
Now, when you're like slapping hands with everybody, you see everybody's got the t-shirts on. That's got to make you feel good, right?
It does. I work pretty hard to spread my name out there and give the people 110% of their value every time they come out, and they give me 100% back. So it's really all I could ask for.
Now, when you first started off at the Asylum, you were with the Unled. It wasn't this really heavy metal entrance that you once had. It was more of a kind of like a gothic type entrance, I guess you could say. So how would you say that you were able to, evolutionize your entrance over the years?
As you get deeper and deeper into understanding who you are when you're out there and figuring out more of what you are and not of what you aren't, don't be a poser. Putting yourself out there and getting your own charisma and getting your own personality and putting it into stuff is a little more what happens with the evolution. Just like me and Beastly, as you see,
I had to put this clip in here. You know that, right?
Yeah, anytime me and him are around, we find bars, we find people, and we mosh. Whether it was Ignite, Fest, CCW, wherever we have been, it's always moshing. But that's part of the evolution too, is going out there and experiencing it and working with what you get from it.
Yeah, I know here at Ignite, I remember Kim saying that you guys were the bar's favorite tag team here when you guys used to come out. I mean, look at this. Like, the crowd just goes crazy. You're definitely rocking it, right?
100%.
Oh, man. So let's go ahead and get into our list, because tonight we're going to count down our 10 most rocking in ring entrances of all time. So let's go ahead and get rid of this. All right. So what we're going to kind of do is go down our list. We each have a list of, 10 or maybe a few bonuses in there because, hey, what the heck?
It's hard to pick just 10, not going to lie.
It was really hard. It was really difficult. But you know what? It's our podcast, and we can do what we want. Isn't that right?
Exactly.
I know, Mosh Pit Messiah, he's ready to rock and roll as always. He was excited when he heard Ozzy Kilmeister was going to be on the podcast tonight. And of course, the most important thing is always to remember.
Don't be a poser.
Don't be a poser. So Ozzy, do you want to kick us off? I think it's only appropriate that you go first with your list, and we'll work our way down. So
like I said, very hard to narrow it down to just 10. So I have a couple of honorable mentions, but I'm going to start as low as I possibly could go, but as high as we possibly could rank. And I'm going to put at number 10, Balls Mahoney. ECW Balls entrance. The whole crowd at that maybe like 4 or 5 seconds into it, everybody's chanting balls. Everybody's in it. Everybody's headbanging. Everybody's ready to mosh. Everybody's ready to go. And Balls comes out there, of course, an inspiration, and gets the people ready.
Yeah, it's definitely classic, 100%.
Nailed it.
Now, my number 10, it's really weird because when you think rocking it, right, you're thinking heavy metal, rocking it, but damn, this entrance, I mean, it just exemplifies to me rock and roll. And my number 10 is Hollywood Hogan, Jimi Hendrix, Voodoo Child. And the reason I go with that one is because when he comes out to the entrance, right, everybody is just, they look like rock stars, right?
Yep.
I hear the song playing on my iPod or my music or whatever.
Right.
I don't think like Jimi Hendrix. I start strumming the guitar. It's just like Hollywood Hogan. It has stood the test of time for me. And that's why I think Hollywood Hogan, Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix deserves to be number 10 on the list.
Great start. Great start.
Now, if you guys in the comments down there in the stream right now, chime in. Feel free to let us know any of your favorite rockin' entrances of all time as well.
Yeah. I want to know too, because if they're bad, I get to call you a poser.
There we go. He will too. You want to work your way up the next one you got?
Let's go. Let's do number 9. I'm going to do Baron Corbin when he was Lone Wolf NXT. That is a heavy for what it was. You have Finn Balor doing the demon thing. You have Kenta with his under his other guys. You have lots of Triple H influence in that black and gold NXT, and you have a lot of guys with Jim Johnson-esque music. And I think Baron Corbin was probably that one that was just a little heavier than everybody else.
Very interesting choice of Baron Corbin. I'm telling you right now, we talked earlier today. We thought some of our picks might, match at some point. I'm sure that they will.
Yeah, they will.
They will. But Baron Corbin, I can tell you, is not on my list. But that's a very interesting choice, and I do appreciate the originality in the pick. Now, for my number 9 pick, you know what? When I set out to do this list, I said, this is my number 1 pick. And then I started doing my research this week and just rewatching the entrances again. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many better ones. And it was weird because I'm like, okay, they're my favorite tag team of all time, but they don't have the most rockinest entrance of all time. And that's the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, at number 9 on my list.
They're one of my honorable mentions.
They're one of your honorable mentions. Okay.
They hit 11. They were at 11.
It's because their entrances is kind of short. It's to the point, but damn, it's intimidating.
And it definitely gets everybody in that arena just ready for whatever is about to happen. So that's good. That's a good one.
I think it could be either one, whether it's the Iron Maiden version or the WWF version at the same time, the What a Rush. Both of them rock hard. Both of them rock good.
Yeah.
But damn, I moved them from what I thought was going to be number 1 down to number 9 on my list. So I think if I have, Road Warriors, and I was shocked when I finally did this list. I'm like, wow, the Road Warriors at number 9. An honorable mention for you. Okay.
Definitely. Road Warriors. I mean, you can't think Rockin' entrance. You can't think not even just greatest entrances of all time without at least thinking of the Road Warriors.
100%. Who you got at number 8, Oz?
It's all about presence, which leads perfectly into my number 8, Sting with Seek and Destroy. Because he used it for such a little frame of time that it'd be different if it was his music all the time. Pulling it back out for All In was a great moment for me. I popped so hard. But, I mean, there's other people on this list that definitely have big metal band influence, Disturbed and etc. on the list, but being California guy coming out to the biggest metal band to come out of California, you can't not mention it. Unfortunately, he ends up at number 8, which is still, again, I'm telling you, it's so hard to put this list together, man.
It's crazy because everybody that's been following the channel obviously knows Sting is my favorite wrestler of all time. And I actually did not put him in my top 10 list of most rockin' and entrances. I was like, I felt bad as a Sting fan, but at the same time, when I was doing my list, I'm like, yeah, he's got some great entrances, but it just didn't hit the top 10 for me. And we may have Ozzy frozen. There we go. Okay, you're good.
Even when he came back as Crow Sting and that music, even though it was somber and it still it drove your goosebumps up. It got you invested into waiting for him to come out, taking his very, very well earned time.
It did. Well, it's kind of interesting. We've hit 3 so far, and we're hitting no duplicates right now, which is
as it gets closer to number 1. I promise you, we're going to start lining up.
We definitely will. Well,
I don't know.
Well, my number 8 is going to be RVD, one of a kind. I was watching actually ECW One Night Stand last night with him versus John Cena, and it's just one of my favorite just wrestling moments of all time. RVD, the control of the crowd, the energy. I mean, he literally had when you say, he had every single person, most people don't have every single person. I believe RVD had every single person in that arena at that show and throughout his time in ECW in the palm of his hand during those entrances.
I think that's why when Brock Lesnar beat him in King of the Ring, it was such a big deal. Because everybody was like, RVD is obviously going to win, blah, 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 blah. No. I think that made it so much worse. I do not have Sandman on my list.
Uh-oh.
I'm just going to say it now.
Uh-oh.
I don't have Sandman on my list.
That's why it's great to have two. I believe me and Ozzy are very two like-minded people, but obviously we're different a lot here on this list, which is pretty awesome. I do like
Sandman, that. As great as the entrance is, the entrance was his best when it was at One Night Stand. It was nowhere near the level throughout his entire career as high as it was at that one night. Because everybody wanted to see it. That's like RVD having control of the whole crowd. Everybody at that moment was waiting for Sandman to come and bash people over the head with the kendo stick. But he's like number 12. So again, he was there.
He was there.
Hard, man.
He was that one guy that you're like, he's on the list, he's off the list. He's on the list, he's off the list. Yeah.
And you know what? My number 7 is actually RVD, but with Walk. Not One of a Kind.
Okay.
You got Fonzie, you got RVD coming out to what is probably one of the heaviest, I'll remember this, one of the heaviest songs even outside of wrestling. He's not happy.
Mosh Pit does not forget much. I can tell you that.
Don't worry, it's gonna get better. Don't worry.
So you hit number 7, and you had RVD, right?
Yep.
Okay, my number 7. Again, this goes back to my childhood. Gosh, when this guy came out, it was the most exciting thing in the whole entire world, and that was the Ultimate Warrior. When he would come out and shake the ropes, I watched a couple clips again today just to see where I wanted to put him on this list. And man, the energy, it's unlike anything. I mean, maybe he gassed himself out and that's why his matches were 2 minutes, but we're not talking about his matches. We're talking about his ring entrance right now.
Fair. All I'm saying is when I run out there, I might not have a mile-long run to the ring, but I definitely blow myself up before I get in the ring.
You do. And
almost 2 minutes.
And Tori Reardon says, while I love One of a Kind, him coming out to Walk, especially with Fonzie, it's just iconic.
Exactly.
How long did let's go to your entrance for a second. And when you are running back and forth and through the ring, how long did it take you to get your conditioning right so that you weren't winded before you would start one of your headbanger matches?
Oh, no, it never.
It's not there yet?
If I'm not blown up by the time my entrance is over, I didn't do my entrance the right way. It's like it's a weird technique of putting myself to the brink of, okay, I'm done now, and then wrestling for 20 minutes. It's a weird conditioning thing, but I can't help it.
And I'm sure in Hialeah it doesn't help either in that
Man.
sauna.
Unbranded, you got 700 plus people every time yelling, screaming. All they want to do is drink beer and see violence. So coming out with my entrance and I can feel all that. It's a time. It's a time and a half. I'll tell you that.
Now we are on to number 6, I believe, on both of our lists. And yes, the Warriors song was freaking awesome. He just sprinted to the ring, dun, 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 boom, boom. Shake the ropes, and that was it.
It's pretty heavy. Not gonna lie. For the time frame, you're looking at a heavy song.
Right. Beer and Blood at the Unbranded Brewing Company. That's for damn
Always.
sure. That's what it's all about. I think they have a death match next month. I saw Alex Ocean and Jackal because there wasn't enough blood in Homestead this weekend.
You would think the match ended with so much blood pouring out of Alex Ocean's face that Jackal Stevens was covered. His whole torso was covered in blood, and I guess that wasn't enough blood. So now it's going to be a straight up death match at Unbranded next month, and that's going to be Batch 33. Don't be a poser. Get your tickets. See you. I bet you want beer and blood. You better come for the beer and the blood. But I think number 6, and again, this is, man, it gets harder and harder as you go. But TNA hasn't been mentioned yet on this, so I think this is a good time to bring up Sabu's entrance in TNA. It was called Carpet Ride. It was a little more specific, but it was very. It was still basically what he came out to in ECW when he wasn't with Fonzie, but it was just heavier. It was a more modern, updated version of it, and it just hits a little deeper. And Sabu being so unpredictable in TNA was just part of the appeal.
I feel like I neglected TNA in my list because I didn't put one TNA entrance here in my list, but TNA did have some rockin' stuff going on there, and I think history will show that TNA Impact had a lot to offer that is very underrated.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, AJ Styles, Abyss, Raven, Monty Brown, Rhino. Some people went there to resurgence their career, and they did, and then some people chose to break out. And I mean, AJ Styles is realistically the only one that's still really doing it, and he's pretty much on his way out. But walking to the bus in the morning, listening to AJ Styles and Sabu's themes on my MP3 player, oh man, they're too good. They're too good.
Why don't we do this for you guys and girls that are in the chat right now? If you come up with your top 5 or top 10 or whatever, when we're done with our list, you guys post your list in the comments, and then we'll go over your guys' list as well too. Top 5, top 10, top 3, whatever you guys want to do. There's no pressure to come up with a top 10 list like us crazy people over here.
Scribbles
everywhere. So you did number 6, is that correct, Ozzy?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 6, and I'm gonna pick this guy because just of his theme songs, plural, throughout the years, whether it's WWE or AEW now, and that's Chris Jericho. Break the Walls Down. I mean, it just the countdown, the silence, the explosion, the energy of the Ayatollah of rock and roll coming out, and then of course now with Judas. I mean, he has his own cruise. He has his own theme song. People sing his theme song on his own cruise. I mean, how can it not be one of the most rocking entrances of all time?
100%. 100%. I'm trying to. So, chat. Okay, what do you guys like better? Do you like Judas, or do you like the original WWE entrance music that he had.
Ah,
What do you think's better? What's more legendary at this point? You know, because he's had so much success with his own song on AEW and the cruise and touring with Ozzy, but he has such the iconic like that break the walls down. Like that's there you go. See, there we go. You can't
I,
help but sing it because you know the words. You know.
yeah, I think it's gonna be, it's Judas is just. I mean, the crowd. You could put it on silent, which
And they
they've done.
still
They've
keep
turned
going.
down the music, and people sing the entire song.
They kill it.
Well, although Mosh Pit Messiah is gonna go with Y2J,
Fair.
Cherry Bombs has Judas, and Tori Reardon has Judas, since the crowd is literally singing it.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
You can't go wrong. I mean, both are freaking awesome, but yeah, it's just a matter of preference, really.
Yeah. Because they're both good.
Yeah.
Man, going into number 5. It's hard because like 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1, they're all like
Whew.
they could all be number 1.
They could be correct. Yes. Well, not my number 5 can't be number 1 though. I think my number 4, 3, 2, 1 could be number 1.
I don't know, man. But I'm gonna have to say Kane.
Kane, okay. Kane is making the list.
It's got to be Kane. That same thing as Jericho with the fire and the build up. That's because even you know what I mean, like even a fan of Kane, somebody that's watched him forever and ever, you know that the pyro is coming as soon as it starts to kick in, and it still gives you a jump. You know, you can be 100% totally aware and it's still going to make you jump. It's still going to get you ready. And then as it got, because it was basically the same thing. And then when they had the Finger 11 song, I would say, they're split evenly because they're so similar in sound, but they're both. I like Kane. I personally.
I remember hearing Kane's song like live for the first time ever at a Monday Night Raw or whatever it was at down in Miami. And when that, pyro goes off, it's unlike anything I think in wrestling because it's so loud and
Yeah.
it sets the tone for the entire evening.
It stays. It's not just boom and then it goes. It holds for a second. That pyro really goes out there.
Well, my number 5 is going to make at least one person happy in the chat because it's the Sandman. I mean, just from the interaction of the crowd, the bashing the beer. I mean, you can't do that now. He could never come out and smoke a cigarette and drink a beer and be in the crowd. And other guys have tried to come out. They do walk through the crowd and stuff. But that hardcore, that ravage ECW crowd, I think just makes it something a little bit more special for the entrance. And that's why he gets a place on my list versus other people that have come through the crowd. It just, the Metallica's playing. And I mean, I think what you see is what you get with the Sandman when he's out there doing his entrance. And that's why I feel like that is just there's no pyro, there's no fancy stuff going on. It's just him, the crowd, and the music. And I think it just makes it, for me, one of the top entrances, rockin' entrances of all time.
And that's a good one. Like I said, he was up there. He just didn't make it. I thought some things were a little heavier, a little more diverse too. Because everybody, like Road Warriors, you got to put Road Warriors on the list. Y2J, got to put Y2J on the list. So I'm also trying to put stuff that I know that you'll probably put on the list, but some stuff that I know that maybe people wouldn't even think of.
Okay. Which I think is definitely going to be one of the ones on my list that I think a lot of people aren't going to think of that we still have not got to yet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. My next one,
number 4.
It might get a little bit of flack because of who it is, but you can argue with it any day. Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar had "Here Comes the Pain." It has his music on it. That his music, like his original music, is the menu sound, and it never stops in my head. Probably because I played the game so much, but it's also like it gets you pumped, it gets you ready to go to the gym, it gets you ready to headbang. It's definitely been on a gym playlist for myself. And I'll tell you what, it was in this position, it was either Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, or Edge. So spoiler alert, Edge and Goldberg are not in the top 3.
Okay.
They are at the honorable mentions, unfortunately. Again, the list was hard. And also it's personal preference a little bit, but it's also you have to weigh the heaviness versus how iconic the song is and how readily available, in my opinion.
Now, Brock Lesnar, okay, that's one that did not make my list here. But my number 4 is, again, I mean, I'm looking at this top list and I'm like, I just absolutely love every single one of these entrances. But my number 4 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. When the glass shatters and it breaks and he just comes walking through, he's just talking. There's no pyro. There's no, it's just him coming out to open a can of whoop ass, and the crowd reaction is it's unlike anything when that glass shatters and that music plays and he comes walking out.
I agree. Again, I had a really good feeling you were going to put Stone Cold on your list, so I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because I could sit here and talk about the 3 different versions. All 3 of them are number 1. It's hard to compete, but I'm glad you put him on your list.
Okay, so
definitely deserves to be up there.
Now we're down to the top 3.
Yep. So before we go into the top 3, chat, what I see Mosh Pit interesting choices. Yes. I'm an oddball, so I tend not to do the things of norm.
Which is good. I don't want somebody that's just going to pick the same 10, it's.
And that would be no fun. We would just be sitting here saying, oh, our top 10. But number 3, I'm sorry, chat. What would be, how would you realign things? How would you switch things around? From our 10 to our 3? How would you change things? Who would you take off? Who would you switch out? Throw it up there. Because number 3, for me, again, a lot of this is personal. It's my time, Triple H's theme, and I believe 2001-ish time. It just, oh man. But aside from when he had the Motorhead entrance afterwards, which you would think I would include, can't do it. It's too obvious. It's too obvious. Oh man. We can have a whole other video of top 10 best live band entrances. Because Triple H with Motorhead, Undertaker with Limp Bizkit. Oh, dude, oh man. Jericho with Drowning Pool at Survivor Series, right? When it was the first Elimination Chamber and they did the live performance at WWE New York. You know what I mean? Like, we could do a whole video, man.
I mean, we've got plenty of podcasts to fill coming up, so why not? Yeah, that could be another list down the line. Mosh Pit Messiah says that's a lot to text, but definitely Brock Lesnar threw him off, and he's surprised that I put Hogan so far out.
That's fair. Voodoo Child is a good song, so I get that.
It was tough, man. It's a song that really resonates with me, but I don't know, when the theme was Rockin' This, like I was trying to come up with something like Ozzy Kilmeister, heavy metal, coming through the curtain. And Hogan doesn't have that, but at the same time, Rockin is, you could interpret it a different way too. And Hogan definitely, I mean, he's a rock star as Hollywood Hogan, that's for sure, in the whole NWO thing.
True.
Now, my number 3, I'm 99.99999% that it's on your list. My number 3 is going to be Gangrel and the Brood at number 3.
Now, which one? The original Brood?
Yeah, the original Brood.
And I knew you would pick it, so I didn't.
Oh.
So I have in number 2.
Okay.
His current one that has the rap in it, because that gets me twice as hype as the original. I'm just saying.
I like that because it is the one that he comes out to now at like CCW when he comes out.
Pretty much everywhere he goes right now, I'm pretty sure
he's playing that, right?
Yeah, and it makes something that it didn't even need to be improved better.
Okay. Just the entrance, I think, with the fire and everything. I mean, it's absolutely iconic.
It's too metal. It's too metal.
It is too metal. And of course, I know I'm going to get some slack here because as a self-proclaimed Stinger, not having Sting on the list is like, what the heck is going on?
So what, chat, what do we call that?
Uh-oh.
I won't say it. I'll wait. You can say it for me. Go ahead. Tell them how it is.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to get it. It's okay. So your number 2 was Gangrel.
Yep.
Okay. So my number 2 is the guys who originated coming out to the ring, rocking out. And when I watch their entrances, man, is it freaking cool. And it's the fabulous Freebirds at number 2. No pyro, no fancy Titantron, just them rocking out is freaking amazing. And I believe that they had so little to work with, and it's so good. And they were the first. I'm not giving them the best, but damn, they deserve a lot of credit for what they did for the entire wrestling industry.
I will agree with that. And that's really good number 2 you got there. And probably a lot of people. There you go. See, he knows what's up. He's not.
I'm a poser.
There you go. Mosh pit, though. There you go. So it's an honorable mention, but I feel like I have to mention it because it predates even the Freebirds. And this is why an honorable mention, not number 1, but an honorable mention is Bruiser Brody.
Oh, okay.
Bruiser Brody used to come out to a version of Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And there's like restored videos where you can hear it pretty clearly, but most of the time you can't. But the physical image of him coming out through the tunnel and then just going into the crowd and swinging his chain while this song is playing in the 50s and 60s probably felt like the apocalypse for that. You know what I mean? Like that was the closest thing they would get to King Kong in real life. And that's why I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it.
Okay, so a nice honorable mention. But Ozzy, before you get to your number 1, let's read out Mosh Pit Messiahs. My top 3 rock entrances will definitely be the Brood entrance from the Attitude Era with Edge and Christian, not the Hardy Boys, Undertaker Ministry, and top 1 is NWO.
Fair. So your top was my 10. I get it. Do you want to go into your number 1? Or you want me to go into my number 1?
You've gone first every time, so I'll let you follow up with the number 1, and I'll go number 1. And man, again, it exemplifies rock. It exemplifies attitude. It exemplifies everything that was amazing and excellent about the Attitude Era and 90s wrestling. Now, an honorable mention was I did have Triple H on my list, and he probably made 11 or 12. Time to play the game. It was right there, and I took him off the list today. But he's going to get in this list at number 1 because I have to put D-Generation X as my number 1 rockin' this entrance of all time.
I like it. I'm not even mad about it, because in the same aspect of encapsulating the Attitude Era, the Undertaker's Lord of Darkness entrance is my number one, because it is the heaviest iteration that wasn't Limp Bizkit of the Undertaker at the time, and it is a song that is on, I want to say, 40% of my playlists on Spotify, because it is just good. It is just a good song, and it makes something that is so iconic something that you can listen to over and over and over again.
So keep
right?
rolling from Limp Bizkit would not be on your list for the Undertaker's.
I wish it was. I wish it was, but I had to go with the Lord of Darkness Attitude Era theme, because it's just the whole ministry. You know, it would be impossible not to pick that as my number one.
Okay. So what did we have? Did we have just one matching with Gangrel? I think was the only one.
RVD.
RVD, yeah,
RVD. RVD and Gangrel, the only ones that we agreed on.
That we had in our top 10.
Those are probably two of the, and we agreed on RVD. We didn't agree on RVD's song.
That's true too.
So even dang.
Not even Gangrel. Not even Gangrel's song. Do we 100% agree on?
It's a good thing.
It is. How many times did you get suspended in school, Mosh? But that's what we want to know is everybody was running around doing the cross chops out in the 90s.
What do we got here from Cherry Bomb? She's got her list.
Yes, we do.
The Rock, Ronda Rousey, and Jericho Judas. Okay. All right. Good. This is good. The Rock should definitely be an honorable mention, because no matter what song it was, any point after 1998, that entire crowd was ready for him.
Again, command of a crowd, pretty much unlike anything we will ever see again. Let's be honest. Like, it was crazy going back and rewatching some of this old stuff from the 90s and the 80s, because it was great before cell phones, before people were distracted during the matches, and they were hyper focused as to everything that was going on in front of their eyes and not as to what digitally is going on.
Ooh, Nick Gage. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Not mad at that. I feel like I should have put the Hardys on there too, not for nothing, but it's man.
I thought 10 was going to be easy. Like, I was like, once I get and then all of a sudden I have like 25 names on the list. And I'm like, wait a minute, how do I narrow this down to 10? Then it kept changing throughout the day as I was listening to different songs. I'm like, oh, nope, got to change.
What we should have done was, I know I did NWO and you did the Brew. We should have done just single wrestlers.
Oh,
we could do a whole other video for tag team.
Tag teams, factions, all that stuff.
Dudleys. There's a Paul London, Brian Kendrick had a pretty cool when they were coming out. There's a lot of stuff like that too.
Yeah,
it wanted in TNA. There was a lot of good stuff.
There really is, and that's the great thing about professional wrestling. It's all the choices that we have, and it's really funny. Like, when I was doing this list, I thought for sure me and you were gonna have 6, 7 duplicates. I'm like, oh, his 10 is going to be my 5. His 9 is going to be my 3, and very nice list, Ozzy. Very nice list, I got to say.
Appreciate it. Somebody's got to put Sting on their list, man.
Oh, shoot. I'm in so much trouble right now. Oh, well, Ozzy, what else do you have coming up that we should know about, that people should be checking out? Because, there's going to be quite a few people watching this podcast, obviously, on demand. So what's going on with Ozzy Kilmeister?
Coastal Championship Wrestling is the only place that you can see Ozzy Kilmeister for the rest of the year.
Oh.
And possibly the only place you'll be able to see me in Florida. Couple of big things coming out outside of Florida. but we'll follow Ozzy Kilmeister on Instagram and Facebook to follow those updates. But every first Saturday, Hialeah, Unbranded Brewing Company. Every second Friday, Kissimmee, Sun on the Beach. Every third Saturday, I believe we are in
Pompano.
Every second Saturday of the month, we're in Homestead. We're in Nashville, I believe, every month. We have Port St. Lucie coming up September 23rd in the Mid-Florida Event Center. I believe we have another Port St. Lucie show coming up in October. Again, check CCW, follow Ozzy Kilmeister for all updates. And don't be a poser. Get your tickets.
Now, later this week, I have an interview coming up with the CCW champion, Jackal Stevens. That'll be dropping on Thursday. And just to plug CCW just a little bit more. Yes, exactly. As I was driving out to Homestead, and I know a lot of people say the same thing. Oh, my God, Homestead is far. And I was driving out there. It took me an hour and 20 minutes to get to Homestead from where I live. It takes me about 25 minutes to get to Unbranded Brewery for me in Hialeah, which is awesome. And as I'm driving out there, I'm like, oh, my God, this is long. Oh, my God, this is long. Then I get there, and the show that you guys put on Saturday, I mean, it's right up there with Unbranded. It was freaking the match that you had with Elliot Crow was an absolute barn burner. You guys just must love beating the crap out of each other at this point.
I actually do. It's fun at this point. He earned a little bit of my respect that night because he was able to hang.
Yeah,
I'm not going to bring up the wince. I'm not going to do it. He's like Beetlejuice. If you say his name 3 times, he just pops up, and he's too creepy. So I'm good.
I always joke with him about the mustache because I told him the time that you guys wrestled at Ignite. Yes, the next Homestead show will be. They are doing it again the second Saturday of the month. They already announced it in October. I joked with Elliot at Ignite when Gangrel DDT'd him, in the ring. And he was getting carried out that day. And I said loudly, and I even told Elliot this, I was like, oh, thank God his mustache absorbed the impact of the DDT. And every time I think he threw a chair at his face this weekend. And I'm like, Ozzy, you're not going to hurt him. The mustache is going to absorb the impact.
Big. You know what? That makes sense.
Yes.
The first time he must have just wham with the mustache because the chair just spun like 6 times. So either I threw it really hard or, his mustache really did block it.
Yeah. I told him never to shave that thing. It's absolutely epic.
Iconic.
Well, Ozzy, is there anything else we should know? Because I know you're a busy man outside of the squared circle.
Man. There's stuff that I'd love to talk about, but I can't talk about yet.
Okay.
I'll just say that.
That's okay. That's okay. It's
again, follow Toned Entertainment, click the notification bell, like this, share it, save it, copy the link, watch it 100 times, put it on when you go to sleep, do whatever you got to do, but make sure you follow this podcast to see where it goes, and you follow everything else that Toned In does.
And definitely rock out with Ozzy Kilmeister. I always tell him he's one of my favorite people on the planet in the wrestling universe. I was so happy we got to do the beer tasting a couple weeks ago. So if you guys haven't tried the beer at the Unbranded Brewing Company, I've actually got a can of mine. It's back there in my collection. The other 2 are gone. There you go. Show off the beer.
I have Gangrel's.
Oh, you have Gangrel's beer. Yes.
Gangrel's brewed. I don't actually have mine right now on me. I got a big case of it, and I got rid of the case.
Well, I'm bringing mine the next show so you can sign it for me. I want to have all mine signed back there in my case back there.
Got you.
Well, Ozzy, it was a pleasure. And guys, next week here on Tuesday, we're going to be live once again. Julie Cutler's back with me, co-hosted with me. We got Joe Mack. He's going to be on the Netflix show Wrestlers. He's wrestling for OVW. He's half of the tag team champions with certified Luke Curtis. So it's going to be the first podcast with 3 of us on here. I'm definitely excited for that. So guys, if you haven't already, follow Ozzy Kilmeister. And if you're at the show, you're going to buy some merch because Ozzy is the best salesman in all of independent wrestling, I think, right now. Nobody hustles like Ozzy Kilmeister. And everybody loves Ozzy out there. So, guys, if you like podcasts like this, interviews like this, wrestling highlights, and everything good in the world of pop culture, you guys know what to do. You guys need to hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in here to Toned In Entertainment for future videos.
Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.